Kayode had learned early on that life was fragile. The trauma of surviving a plane crash, the only survivor among his family and friends, had carved a deep scar in his soul. He had lived for years with the pain of loss, the memory of his family's laughter now just a fading echo in his mind. Every night, the faces of his loved ones haunted his dreams, his mother's gentle smile, his father's warm embrace, his sister's playful laughter, all gone in the blink of an eye. His grief, like a heavy cloak, suffocated him. It clouded his world, turning even the brightest days into shadows. He often felt like a ghost among the living, his heart trapped in a prison of sorrow. The only person who seemed to reach him was his best friend, Uche. Uche had been there for him through it all, his confidant, his rock. But Uche, with his cryptic wisdom and strange habits, had recently introduced him to something bizarre, an eyedropper filled with a liquid that promised to unlock the truth. Uche claimed that it would allow Kayode to see people for who they truly were, to peer beyond the surface and witness their essence. This, Uche had said, is how you'll see the world differently. Skeptical but desperate for anything to alleviate the crushing weight of his grief, Kayode took the drop. The cool sensation spread across his vision, and the world immediately seemed to shift. At first, it was subtle, an ethereal glow, a faint hue around people, like an aura. Some had a brilliant blue light that pulsed with warmth, radiating goodness. Others were enveloped in a dark mist, sinister, swirling clouds of malevolence that clung to them like a second skin. But then, Kayode saw her, Ania. She stood alone on a crowded street, her figure slender and graceful, but there was nothing, no glow, no mist. She was empty. No essence at all. For a moment, Kayode's breath caught in his chest. It was as if she didn't belong to this world. And yet, she was there, walking among the others. Something deep within him stirred, a mix of curiosity, fascination, and inexplicable yearning. He couldn't explain it. He just knew that he needed to know more about her. He had to. Kayode's visits to Ania became more frequent. He found excuses to see her. At first, it was because she intrigued him, and soon, it was because he could not stay away. They met in the quiet corners of the city, away from the bustling crowds. During the day, they would sit together, talking about anything and everything. Yet, Ania revealed little about herself. She didn't speak of her family, her past, or her origins. She was an enigma, her silence speaking volumes. But Kayode noticed something. As he spent more time with her, the sadness that had always gnawed at him began to lift, just a little. When they held hands, the weight of the past seemed to lighten, and in her presence, the world didn't feel so dark. It felt as if she was a balm for his wounds, though she didn't know it. By night, their walks grew longer. They'd chant softly to the moon, walking hand in hand through the quiet streets. There was a strange sense of peace when they were together, but something was still missing. Kayode couldn't shake the feeling that Ania was hiding something important. One evening, while in her apartment, he discovered a photograph tucked into the pages of an ancient book. The boy in the photo had the same face as him, a striking resemblance that made Kayode's heart race. "Who is this?" he asked, holding up the photograph. Ania's expression faltered for a moment before she answered. "His name was Theophilus," she whispered. "He was my first love. He looked just like you." Kayode felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Why does he look like me?" Ania's eyes darkened as she looked down at the photograph. "Because you are him, Kayode. You are Theophilus reborn." The revelation hit Kayode like a bolt of lightning. Theophilus, the boy in the photograph, had been the love of Ania's life. And now, Ania claimed that Kayode, a man who had only recently met her, was the reincarnation of this boy. His mind raced, unable to process the enormity of the situation. How was it possible that he had been connected to Ania in this way? Had he lived this life before? And if so, why couldn't he remember it? Ania, sensing his confusion, began to tell him her story. She spoke in hushed tones, her voice heavy with sorrow. "I was once a maiden, full of life and dreams," she said. "I loved Theophilus with all my heart. He was my everything. But one fateful day, he was taken from me, by an accident. I too died, and my soul became trapped in this world, unable to move on. I was bound here, tethered by my love for him, unable to be free until I found true love again. But even in death, I waited for him, believing that we would be reunited." Kayode's heart ached as he listened to her. She had been stuck in this world for years, longing for a love that had never truly ended. But there was more, so much more. "I have been hunted by the reapers," Ania continued, her voice trembling. "They are the creatures who harvest the souls of the dead. They've been after me for years, but I have eluded them. They cannot take me until I find someone who truly loves me." The weight of her words hung in the air, suffocating him. Kayode could no longer deny it. Ania wasn't just a mystery. She was a ghost, a soul bound to the earth, trapped between life and death. And now, she had found him, a man who resembled her lost love, Theophilus. The tension between them grew, as the time drew near for the reapers to come. Kayode had to face the truth. Ania wasn't the only one being tormented. He had been living with the trauma of his own loss, the crash that had taken his family, leaving him broken and alone. And now, here he was, standing at the crossroads of life and death, drawn to a woman he loved, who was a ghost. His grief had never truly left him. He had been running from it, hiding in his connection with Ania, but he had to confront it now. "Kayode, the reapers will come for me," Ania whispered one night, as they stood at the edge of a cliff, overlooking the city. "They are getting closer." Kayode's heart raced. He couldn't lose her. Not like this. Not again. "I won't let them take you," he vowed. But his words were hollow against the inevitability of death. The reapers arrived one evening, their forms like shadows, transparent and ominous. They surrounded Ania, their presence cold and suffocating. Their leader, a tall figure cloaked in a robe of swirling darkness, stepped forward. "Ania," the reaper spoke in a voice that echoed with the weight of eternity. "Your time has come." Kayode's heart pounded. Without thinking, he stepped forward, shouting, "No, I won't let you take her." But his hands passed through the reaper's forms like air. Desperation surged within him, and in a moment of reckless defiance, he made a choice. He leapt from the cliff, his body hurtling toward the ground below. But as he fell, something strange happened. His soul reached out, not to the earth, but toward Ania. Their hands touched, and the world around them exploded in a blinding flash of light. When Kayode opened his eyes again, he was no longer in the city. He was on an island, a place untouched by time, where the air was calm and the sky endless. The reapers were gone, and Ania was with him, her presence no longer ethereal but solid, warm, and real. They stood together, hand in hand, on the edge of a shore that stretched out into eternity. Kayode looked around, his heart heavy with the realization that he had left everything behind. But in this place, there was no pain, no sorrow. Only love, and only Ania. "This is where we will stay," Ania said softly, her voice full of peace. "This is where I have been waiting for you, Kayode. This is our place." And so they remained, together forever, in the island where time stood still, their love transcending the boundaries of life and death. Kayode had found his peace. He had found his love, his redemption. And in Ania, he had found a life worth living, one where the past no longer haunted him. Here, in this timeless world, they would live, together, forever. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything to us. Thank you for watching.